Do, do, do. Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday morning. Oh, hang on. These headphones are squashing my glasses into my ear. I don't know if it's the hat, the headphones, or what. Oh, got to get comfy. All right. Let's do Mike in the Midwest, episode 251. How do we get to episode 251 of the mini podcast? Let's see, we've done 2,800 episodes of the main show, 250 episodes of this one. So my wife is going to be picking up the dog food from Target, so I might get a text in the middle of this show. So who knows? All right, here we go. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 251 of Mike in the Midwest, our mini podcast for the amazing patrons just like you of the Be Our Guest podcast. Of course, my name is Mike Rallman, host of the Be Our Guest podcast, which you can find at beourguestpodcast.com. If you're in a pinch, you can always stream it right there very easily. But you can get the show anywhere you like, wherever you can download podcasts. But you know that because you're a patron, and I appreciate you so much and hope you are having a great weekend as you grab this show or a great start to your week, whatever you download the show. That's the great thing about podcasts. You can be getting this at midnight, 9 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Doesn't matter. It's the beauty of podcasts. That's why I love it. So interesting because seriously, I'm the biggest fan of podcasts and have been since probably like 2003, 2004 when they first came out, because I go back and listen to shows from 2006. They're little time capsules. Like I'm recording this today just for a little, note. Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. Right now it is 10:16 a.m. from Weldon Spring, Missouri, St. Peters, Missouri, to be exact. And who knows when you listen to this show? You can listen to the show 25 years from now, and it's a little time capsule of this time and place. And that is one of the beauties of podcasts. I don't know how many of you guys do go back and listen to shows. Some shows are evergreen and the information is still valuable. In some shows, they're so not evergreen that it makes them fun to go back and listen to, because you're like, wow, the world was so different in 2008 or 2010. But what was important then is not important now, or the perspective of things in 2012, was the foresight of that. Everything we thought was so important, that's so laughable in these days. We obviously have a Disney podcast, so we look at everything through a Disney lens. But when we started our show in 2008, I mean, I try to think about this, right? New Fantasyland didn't exist, right? Magic bands didn't exist. Happily Ever After wasn't a thing. The Disney dream, the Disney fantasy were not cruise ships yet. Obviously, the Disney Wish, the Disney Treasure, the Disney Destiny were not ships. So when you go back and think about it, it's so fun when if you dive back into the library, we talk about these things that, oh, wow. When we talked about Disney Cruise Line, when we started the show, it was a 2-ship cruise line. It was the Disney Magic and the Disney Wonder. And we thought that was a big deal. If we could have known, back then, Pam, Ricky, Debbie, and myself, where the Disney Cruise Line would have been, the changes that would have come to Disney World, Disneyland. Obviously, Disneyland is going to change a lot over the next 5 years, probably with the Disney Forward project. It would have blown our minds, right? I mean, think about magic bands, and then think about that time. I'm trying to think of that time, like 2015, 16, 17, where they were talking about like with the introduction of magic bands. Was it 2014-ish? I went down for a media event. It was right around the time of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, maybe 15, where they introduced magic bands. And what was it, like My Magic Mobile, they called it for a minute. And it was it was in that Beta Mouse. If you're a Disney podcast fan, which I know a lot of you are old school, and a lot of you guys are, huge podcast fans like me. I listened to every Disney podcast back in the day, WDW Today, Lou's shows, everybody's, and downloaded them as soon as they came out, listened to them on the way to school every time. I had them consumed within hours of them releasing every day, and would email with the hosts, and I loved interacting. It was my radio. I didn't listen to radio. That was my form of consumption of media. And I look back on that, and I think my favorite time period of Disney podcasting was that time where things were really changing quickly, but it was still super optimistic. There wasn't, because right now I think there's some pessimism out there. We try not to be. I mean, I will be honest. I am kind of sad about the Rivers of America going away at the Magic Kingdom and the Liberty Bell and Tom Sawyer Island, because I am kind of an old school guy, right? And I'm also a Missouri guy. I'll be honest. This is a geographical thing. Tom Sawyer Island, Mark Twain, that's kind of a Missouri connection. I think you feel a kinship to something that when you see it in the parks, it's like, oh, I'm represented there, right? And I think Tom Sawyer Island kind of makes me feel like, oh, like that's a little bit of me in the Magic Kingdom. Like that's showing back to, where I'm from. Like people get to see a little bit of, Missouri, because we're the cave state. Like they call us the cave state. We're the show me state. We're the cave state. And so when people are running through the tunnels, I'm like, oh, wow. Like maybe the world's getting to see a little bit of kind of like, cause we have a lot of caves up by Hannibal, and there's a lot of parts of Missouri that have a lot of caves, Merrimack Caverns. And I'm kind of proud of that. Right. And so that going away is a little sad. I know that has changed. And I'll be honest, like the new renderings of Piston Peak, you gotta be careful how you say that. Did what in your cup? But you did what in your peak? But my wife said that the other night, so I gotta steal that. But it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But I feel like there was a lot of optimism with all the Disney news. And I still remember Henry. I love Henry, right? And Henry went on to work for the Disney company, so we had to leave Beta Mouse. And Beta Mouse was, of course, I love Nate, Parrish, who was on the other side of the state, Nate and Matt, the Parrish brothers. Then you had Katie and who the other, you had Jeff Cheney, and you had one other guy. But like, I love that time with that merging of Disney, but technology was really kind of pushing in at the beginning. I think technology, and there's no stopping it at this point, right? I mean, it's the way of the world. I mean, think about it with Chat GPT and AI and everything that's coming in. I mean, it is the way of the world at this point. I don't want to go too far on this. This is Mike in the Midwest, supposed to be light, fun. But I think this is the audience for the most part that's listening to this show. And if you've been around a little bit, if you were around in the Beta Mouse era, and it was a brief era, I think it was like a good 2 years, that it was super interesting, because I just remember that day that Henry was talking about the orb. And if you were around back then, you probably were like me and like, dog, like that is the dream, right? Because he said, I think there's going to be a day where you go on your Walt Disney World vacation and there's going to be this orb that follows you around, all around the parks and all around when you're back at Caribbean Beach and when you're sitting down at the Sebastian's Bistro. Wasn't around then. What was it? We were talking about this in the clubhouse the other night. What was the restaurant that was there? Oh my God. It was so poorly rated. People hated it. You could always get into it. The one that was there, they took it out. No, I don't want to go into the clubhouse, but I can't remember it. But it was like you could always get into it at over Caribbean Beach to sit down. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he was like, you could always, this orb would kind of like float around, follow you around, take your pictures, keep track of everywhere you went. And then it come to find out what it was. Basically, it was magic bands. It didn't take your pictures, but what it, could do is like when you're on Small World, there were cameras. It'd take pictures of you while you're on the attractions. And then, through RFID, link the pictures to your account. Boom, you had the picture. So it was, in a way, it was kind of that same thing. It wasn't a floating orb. That'd be way cooler, but it was a step down from that. And then we found out, we talked about magic bracelets. We didn't know about magic bands yet, but we're like, there's going to be these magic bracelets. And then we got magic bands shortly after that. But there was this optimism like this was going to happen. This was going to happen. We're on the verge of these things. And then they happened. And then I don't know. I think as social media kind of boomed with like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, it wasn't just the technology forward people that were kind of on the edge there. It was everybody got in. And I think that it got a little pessimistic. And everybody deserves a voice, but I don't know if like the pessimistic voices got a little bit louder, but I mean, it's still fun. But I don't know why there seems to be a difference like in the last, a decade ago, because that's probably like 10 years ago, just about 10 years ago now. But it was so fun back then. It was so optimistic. Like back when they had they were testing. I remember this. They were testing technology in the park, which was a Nintendo DS to use like a map in the park to see like, okay, what time are park hours? What time are parade hours? Where are the meet and greets? What's the parade route? What are menus for these restaurants? It was a DS that had some big like security cage on it so you didn't steal it because it was modified, obviously heavily modified. But if you got one of those, you were so excited because you were like, like on the cutting edge. It was just a fun time. So anyway, I don't know why I was thinking about that, but I'm a podcast fan, right? And I just think that I hope you get the enjoyment out of all of our shows. And I hope that enjoyment with podcasts is still there in 2025 because they are little time capsules. You can go back and say, they were right about that. They were wrong about that. But what a time it was. It doesn't matter right or wrong, but it was fun to look at it through different perspectives and see, oh, wow, that was kind of cool to see. So I'm just a podcast fan. I do go back and listen to old shows. That's where I stand on that. Anyway, hope you're having a great weekend. What's going on around here? Oh my gosh, it's hot. And I know it's hot around the country. A lot of places it is smoking hot. We are under an excessive heat warning. They didn't even stop for the watch. They went to a watch for like 10 minutes. Then they just said, forget the watch. We're going right to a warning. Started yesterday, goes through Tuesday night into Wednesday. It is smoking hot, like heat indexes from 105 to 110 until Wednesday. And I mean, they say this is going to be the main part of the show at the end, but they say it's because we're not adjusted to the heat yet because it's the first like heat wave of the year. But yeah, it's hot. So we'll talk about that here in a second. So that's kind of the main story. The other story is I picked a bad time for my Jeep top to break. So I drive a Jeep Wrangler, right? A 2012 Jeep Wrangler. Love it because it's been paid for forever and it's reliable. And I love my Jeep and it's a soft top. But we found out the other night that these two straps that are called tension straps, or that's what I call them. They hold this bar on the back that keeps the two back edges from flying loose when you ride in it. They dry rotted because they've been in there since 2012. It's probably 2011 is when it was built. It's 2012 model. And they're just nylon straps and they dry rotted. So they broke. So I thought it was part of the top. So I ordered a new soft top, which killed me, but they're, replacement tops they're expensive, but not terribly expensive because, it's this piece of, you buy them aftermarket. That was kind of my part of my Father's Day gift all of a sudden. And so you get this top and oh my gosh, I am so not mechanical. It's stuff like this. I wish I was. I could do a podcast, but I am not mechanical. But God bless my wife. We've been fighting putting on this new. It took us like 2 hours to take the old one off. That was not easy. I know that there's 27 screws to go across the front of the old top to take it off. And we've watched countless YouTube videos. We have the new one came in a big box and we've had it laying in the living room. It comes with two new windows and a new back window because they're all plastic. They zip in, if you know, like Jeep Wranglers. It's going to be cool looking because they're tinted. So I mean, I get nice and cooler in the summer. I mean, top's always down in the summer though, so it really doesn't matter. But the thing is, you got to get it lined up just right, or else like these edges that because with a soft top Jeep Wrangler, like everything just tucks in and zips. There's zippers, and when you put the top up, you just like, they're like little tuck unders. Like you got to get everything lined up exactly, or else this thing will not, your top will not go up and down easily. And so last night we thought we had it, but we didn't have the center right. And so we had it all 27. And again, the heat index in our garage, there's under a heat warning, remind you. My wife and I are out in the garage at like 7 o'clock, Pam and I, smoking hot. Dude, we're dripping sweat. I mean, I was looking at Pam. We're standing in the Jeep, like, the top's gone because we took the old one out. It's sitting by the trash. Like both of us, and like I said, I am terrible at tools, terrible mechanical stuff. And it's embarrassing because her dad was a mechanic. That's what he retired from Johnny Londoff Chevrolet. Like he was a great mechanic, but he can't see anymore. He's got bad vision, so he can't really help us anymore. So I'm up there. I feel like, Tim the Tool Man Taylor, though, because I do have like a screw gun, like an electric, is putting all these screws in. We get it in there. It doesn't line up. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, dude. I just did 27 screws. I'm dripping sweat. I'm dying. So we're tugging on this big old piece of nylon, roof thing. We finally gave up, dude. We were so dying. So we're going to give it another shot tonight after the live call-in show and see if we can get it. Cause we think we watched another YouTube video. Thank God for YouTube videos where there is a notch we found that'll line it up, and we'll see what happens. Cause you got to get these little springs in the right spot and all that. It's you think it's just a top. It's hard. There's these little springs and cables that are all hidden under there with these little pockets. So I'll keep you up to date, but that's been my weekend, is fighting this stupid Jeep top. And all I want to do is have a roof on my car. That's it. I mean, it's not supposed to rain for a while, so hopefully that's good. Also, if you notice the thing behind me, 14 days till the podcast cruise. 2 weeks from today, we will be on the ship just about right now on the Disney Magic. I will tell you, the excitement for a Disney vacation. It is real. It is getting exciting. It is consuming me. It is all I'm thinking about. I am 2 weeks away. We don't go down until the day before, so we have 13 days. We'll go down next week from Saturday. We're staying at the boardwalk the night before because that's where Scott's staying. We're going to ride over to the port together. The night before, we're eating a Rosa Mexicana. Scott made that ADR, so it's going to be fun. Very first time there, having our big meet at Splitsville. So if you're in Walt Disney World on Saturday, July 5th, come meet us at Splitsville. I got stickers I'll be giving out and everything, podcast stickers for your computer. So come on out and see us. But yeah, super excited to get on the Magic and sail. We're going to have so much fun. And we're going to be talking about some of the must-dos tonight on the live call-in show. For one thing, any silent discos, you have to go to silent discos on the Magic. We'll talk about that tonight. So give us a call tonight during the live call-in show. But yeah, I like, you can't pack yet, but we have gifts for everybody sailing with us, and they're finally put together. They've come in the mail. We've seen them. We're excited for them, but we can't really pack yet. So we're getting close, but like we got all the gifts like sitting here, but can't put them in suitcases yet. So you are getting gifts. So be ready. All right, so let's talk about the feedback from last week's show, because don't want to make this podcast super long because you'll have a lot of shows this week to listen to. Trisha, who's going to be on the Disney Magic in 2 weeks with us, says, we went on a road trip. Oh, this is regarding my last day of school shirt, maybe. We went on a road trip to Mall of America, and in preparation for it, my dad took the car in for regular service. We made it to the parking lot of the mall with smoke billowing out of the hood of the car. Thankfully, it was a loose hose and an easy fix. I don't remember anything else from that trip, but I do remember that. We're talking about road trips. That is clutch when it's just a loose hose. I've had that happen too, where one time it was a loose cap from an oil change where they just didn't screw it all the way on, and it was smoking because like the oil was kind of escaping a little bit. All I do was like screw the cap on and like wipe off the excess oil. I was like, whew, thank God. Like I was like, hallelujah. It's not like my car's burning up. It's just some oil burning off. I was like, God, that was the greatest blessing of all time. Let's see. She says, Trish continues. I don't have an epic shirt like you, Mike, but I do plan my clothes around the park we start in. Epcot is Grogu eating his blue cookies, Chewie and a porg for Animal Kingdom. And I'll drop a picture of my Magic Kingdom shirt in the Patreon Discord. She did. One thing I always wear down and back are Mickey ears. I proudly walk through the airport donning my headwear. Very nice. I always wear like Run Disney stuff in the airport, typically. Either Run Disney stuff or Mizzou stuff. M-I-Z. Always. Because it always starts a conversation. Well, my backpack's Mizzou, and it's the Mizzou gear that the athletes get, because when Paige was working as for the Missouri women's basketball squad, she got all the stuff the athletes got, so she gave me a set too. So I always wear that in the airport, so it stands out. So people are like, Mizzou? I'm like, M-I-Z? Like, Z-O-U. That's a good conversation starter. Speaking of Mizzou, Dennis, a Mizzou fan himself, says, off the top, I need you to stop saying that Mike in the Midwest isn't a good show. Okay, we'll stop. It's not the best, but because I prefer Scott, Pam, and Ricky. They're great podcasters, but we'll go. I would beg to differ. I push it to the top of my playlist every weekend when you release it. Well, thank you. And Dennis is a great podcaster as well. You got to check out a Star Wars podcast as well. Both the BOGP and Mike in the Midwest are excellent because you are so genuine. Mike in the Midwest is a great daily dose of nostalgia and a reminder to always look for the best in anything or situation. I smile every time I hear a new episode. Dennis, thank you. You're a true friend. Thank you. I mean, it is genuine because it's just me talking about stuff. I mean, there's not much about it, but it's just me talking. Dennis says, I love your shirt. I'm impressed it is in such good shape after all this time. I don't have anything quite like that, but I have been building a collection of shirts that I wear on Disney related vacations that I acquired on Disney vacations. The first is a t-shirt from the Capilano Suspension Bridge Park. By itself, it has nothing to do with Disney, but we visited the park ahead of our first Alaska cruise, and I have taken it with me on every cruise since. Unlike your shirt, it is nearing the end of its useful life. The graphics on the front are so faded that they're on the verge of becoming undecipherable. That shirt has been to Mexico, the Bahamas, Castaway Cay, the Caribbean, San Diego, Disneyland, and the Mediterranean. I hate to get rid of it, but it really is on its last legs of being presentable, and I need to find some sort of replacement for it. I'm with you, Dennis. Man, I hate when a favorite like clothing item is on its way out. So I have a gray Mickey tee, like the one I'm wearing right now. And I have two of them. It's a Disney Cruise Line one, and it's just gray, but the old one has a hole in it. And they don't make them anymore. It's just a Captain Mickey gray t-shirt. Steve Forrester had the OG one. And I was like, I got to get that. And then I found it on one of the ships. This was like maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And then I got a hole in it. I'm like, oh my God, I got a hole in my favorite like Disney Cruise Line. It's because it's so plain. It's just plain Captain Mickey on a tee. And then I got a hole in it. I'm like, no, my favorite, just plain Mickey, Captain Mickey tee. And then I found a second one on like a subsequent cruise. And so, but I can't throw away the first one with a hole in it because I love that shirt so much. So I'm so careful with the second one because it's this weird material that like feels like, I don't even know what it's not regular t-shirt material. It feels like it's made out of, I don't know, like something that'll tear super easy. So I only wear it like very rarely. Like I'll wear it when we get on the ship. Like so that shirt can be like an embarkation day shirt. Like it comes out rarely because I'm scared. Because I don't want to rip the backup, because that's my backup. That's my only one. And they don't make it anymore. And I'm paranoid, right? Are we crazy or what? Because I don't want to lose that shirt. But I keep the one with the hole, like, and I do wear the one with the hole, like around the house. I even wear it to podcast. I'll be honest. I wear it to podcast here because you can't see the hole. It's down below the lower third here. It's down in the bottom part. Actually, there's one on the shoulder, but it's on the back side. You wouldn't see it on the podcast either. So now you know, a little behind the scenes. Anyway, you have feedback for this show or any other show, drop it in patreon.com/BRGuestPodcast. All right, let's talk about today's topic. And this is one I hope you have feedback for, because I was thinking about this as I was walking yesterday and today outside with Riley in the heat. And so I told you, we have this heat warning, right? That came out like 3 or 4 days ago. Like, oh my gosh, it was noon yesterday, noon Saturday until 9 p.m. on Tuesday. The St. Louis metropolitan area has an excessive heat warning. And of course, if you have a smartphone, your smartphone blows up. And we have Amazon dots in like every room. I have one in the studio here. We have them in every bathroom. We have them in our bedroom. We have them in the kitchen. We have them everywhere. So as soon as they put out a warning for anything, the National Weather Service, like all of our dots turn green. They get this green ring on them. Like, when something gets delivered, you get an alert, right? So all of a sudden everything's green in the house. You get your phone has all these, because I have all the weather apps. So my phone screen's got a weather app from, WeatherBug, Weather Channel, whatever. So I got all these alerts because we got it, because we got an excessive heat warning. So I'm like, holy smokes. And I was thinking about this in the 80s. Like when I was a kid, in the 80s, you know what this was? It was called summer. It was just hot. I mean, it probably got this hot all the time, but we didn't freak out. And so I was thinking about this, like as a kid in the 80s, what did a day look like for us when it got like this when we were kids? So I was trying to think about this. So we would get up early and we'd have a day where it'd be almost 100 degrees. Like it wasn't that rare, I don't think, in St. Louis to have a few days, especially like in, around the 4th of July, which we're getting close to the 4th of July, where you would hit like 95 to 100 in St. Louis. We had these every year, just like it is now. I mean, this wasn't that unusual. Here's the thing. My house never had central air conditioning when I was growing up. We had, and I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, we had an attic fan. I don't know if you know what an attic fan is, but we had this like big fan in the hallway that was right outside of we had a small house though. So it really didn't matter. A little 2-bedroom house. We added my bedroom. We cut the living room in half to add my bedroom later. But we had a 2-bedroom house, made this attic fan that was in the hallway outside of the bathroom in the kitchen, and you turned it on and whoosh, and like it was so loud. But what it did, it brought all this like wind into all the windows in the house. It really felt good in the evening. But I mean, it brought in the hot air, but it brought in air. It made it feel good. But it was super loud. We don't have an attic fan in this house. I haven't seen attic fans like in any houses lately. Anyway, and then like in the late 80s, like ceiling fans, like with lights, became a thing in like every room, I think. So we started adding ceiling fans too. But anyway, we didn't have central air. I remember my buddy got it across the street later on, and dude, it was the coolest thing. Like, you have central air, like you have air conditioning in the whole dang house, like in every room. Like I felt like he was Daddy Warbucks. Like it was crazy. It actually wasn't him. It was his grandparents, because he lived like 5 houses down from his grandparents across the street from me. Like he lived him and his grandparents lived on the exact same street as me. So like his grandparents lived across the street from me, and he lived about 4 houses down. So I think his grandparents got the central air. And so we'd just go over there when it was super hot and just hang out with his grandparents. Like the whole house was cool. It was amazing. Anyway, but we did have an air conditioning like window unit in our kitchen. And so I just remember on days like this, we would just sit in the kitchen and just let that thing blow. And oh my gosh, that thing was so ice cold and it feels so good. And so just like a aside, when I taught when I taught gifted, our gifted center where I taught was so old. This is when I taught like after Mallory was born. It's like from 2008 until I quit teaching in 2017. That building was so old, it didn't have central air either. And so we had window units in that, but I loved it because I got to control the air in my own room with a big central, one of those big old window units. And man, my room was so cold all the time because I had a gigantic like window air unit, just for my one classroom. And I could have that thing as cold or hot as I wanted it. And man, I would have it always cold. It was so good. Anyways, that was awesome. When I walked in, I was like, am I walking back in time when I got that room? Like, I don't have central air in this classroom. At first I was offended. And then once I got used to it, I'm like, this is the bomb. Like, I love this thing. I mean, let's go back to 1970. This is pretty cool. I mean, it's not my house. I don't care. And I'm not paying the bill. So anyway, that was great. But I will tell you, I remember one day though, when it was hot, I can tell you a few stories. So one day when it was like super hot, I don't know if like the air conditioner was out or something. This is just funny. Like, I think the air conditioner wasn't working. We had the attic fan on, or maybe my dad was being cheap or something. But I remember one morning we woke up and my mom couldn't find my dad. And the house was super hot. Like the house was super hot. And we woke up and my dad was sleeping in the backyard on a chase lounge, like on those chase lounges, like, because my mom like suntan on the back patio, because the house was so hot, like he couldn't stand it anymore because he was a construction work. My dad was a cement mason, so he worked outside all day, right? And he was just like, "Yeah, and so he woke it like she couldn't find him. She like got up, look around the house, and he was at the backyard, like on the patio, because he's like, I just gotta get the house is so hot. So he ended up sleeping on the chase line. Oh, it was this crazy. But the house was smoking hot. I think the air was out that night. And then they had the attic fan on, but the attic fan was not doing it. So that was funny. Um, but yeah, so I'm just trying to think like when it was super hot though, like I don't remember us ever getting like heat warnings or like excessive heat warnings, like it says right now on my phone. Like we would just like if it was hot, a couple things, we'd go to the pool. We had the community pool, but I didn't like I wasn't a big swimmer. A lot of times, like we had so slip and slide was fun, but we didn't have a real slip and slide. What we had, again, my dad was a cement mason. So we didn't have the real like whammo slip and slide that was expensive. What we had was this. And my buddy Ryan and I did this all the time. My dad had this clear plastic that when they finished like making a patio or like a driveway, what they would do is if it was going to rain, they would cover it up with this kind of thick clear plastic to keep the rain off it so it wouldn't screw up the driveway or the patio if it rained, like if rain was in the forecast. So he would have that sometimes in the backyard. And so we would get that, take a couple nails or something and put it down and do that stuff with slicker than snot. You'd put the hose on it and it worked as good as that yellow whammo slip and slide. And we'd put that in the yard and we'd just go at it and we'd have a good time. And, it was fun. Now, the worst thing about that was we destroy the grass. And, my parents were super happy about that. So we'd like take turns. Sometimes we'd take it over Ryan's, sometimes we'd take it over Ryan's grandparents across the street, but you couldn't do it very long because you just destroyed the grass, but we didn't care. So that was one of the things. Another thing that we did, and why was this fun? But we always did it. We jumped through the sprinkler. So we had the big sprinkler. I remember we had like the big fan, the one that just went back and forth, like, and you just jump back, jump through it. I mean, but we had a ball with that. Now, some people had the one that went. Now, sometimes you'd play with that too, but the big fan one is the one we used to jump on. We did that for hours. It seemed like hours. I don't know. Maybe we did. Maybe we did. But it seemed like hours. And then we'd like at lunch, we'd always go inside, get some, cool off, get some air if we could. I just remember when it was super hot, we'd always have bologna sandwiches. I don't know why I equate bologna sandwiches with when it was hot, but it feels like we always had bologna sandwiches when it was hot, bologna and cheese. And we had these things. I don't know if you had them where you were. They were like hugs or huggies or something like that. They were like little barrels of juice. They looked like little wooden. They were clear. They were like little clear plastic, and they were all different flavors, like blue, orange, red, whatever. They're different colors, juice. But they looked kind of like little like barrels, and they had like a little foil top. We just chugged those things when it was hot. So we do that. And then a lot of times in like the heat of the afternoon after lunch, we'd stay inside because of course it's smoking hot. We'd play like our Atari or we'd play board games. Ryan had a lot of board games at his grandparents' house. We go across the street in his grandparents' house in the basement. They had like board games. They had a finished basement. And so a lot of times we'd be in the basement at his grandparents' house in the heat of the afternoons in the summer. And it was like a cave. It was the bomb. And I still love my basement here. It's where I'm podcasting from right now. Because in the summer, it's always cool when it's hot. It's always nice down in the basement. So we'd always do that in the summer. But then I just remember like in the evenings, it was awesome. Our neighborhood would come alive with kids. And we were allowed to stay out pretty late. Like even when it was dark in our neighborhood, when it was hot, like we played like an early form of like disc golf. So we all had Frisbees and we would play basically Frisbee golf around our street, like where we'd make a street pole. You would have to like throw from somebody's driveway and you'd have to hit like the light post. That'd be hole number one. And then like that post would be like where you would tee off for the next thing. Like it'd be like somebody's mailbox, down the street would be like hole number two. You had to hit that. And then, you would go hit that, and then you'd have to go. So we basically go like down one side of the street and then, up the other side of the street, and we make like 9 holes. And I mean, we played that in the dark. A lot of times we would play, like, because indoor soccer was a big deal during this time in the 80s in St. Louis. We had a team called the St. Louis Steamers, with Slobo Ilyaski was our goalie. He was a big, like Daryl Duran. They were big players. So we'd play like soccer in our backyards because in my backyard, we had a big floodlight. My dad put in a big floodlight. So we just go in our backyard and we didn't have soccer goals or anything, but we had chain link fences between the yards. And so we just like, we had basically the goal was between two posts and the chain link fence. That was a goal on each side. And we'd all just go back there and it was cooler because it was dark and we'd play. I mean, God, we must have played till like 11 o'clock at night in the summer. And we were probably like 8, 9 years old, but we had that freedom and it was cooler. But yeah, I just remember that, you know, we had I know we had days like these, but it wasn't like, oh, I mean, if you watch the news in St. Louis, like the weather, like they just keep coming on like today's a first alert weather day. Like, I mean, they make it sound like on our weather in St. Louis that if you walk outside today and you stay outside for more than 15 minutes, you are going to burst into flames. And I know it's hot and I know it's dangerous for some people to be out there, but we survived. Like when we were kids, it was just, it was called summer. It was hot. Don't get me wrong. It was hot. It was hot, but you drank out of the hose. I mean, that's how we didn't drink Powerade, Gatorade. I mean, yeah, I did drink Gatorade because my grandpa had Gatorade all the time and that glass jug in the fridge. But you know what it was? It was community Gatorade because it was a big old glass Gatorade thing that had the big, metal cap. And my grandpa would just go in when he was thirsty and just go out of the thing, just straight out of it. He never got a cup. And so what did I do when I was at my grandparents' house? I just go in there and go right out of the same thing too. That's just what we did. And so, yeah, so we just drank out of the hose. Like when I was thirsty, you just wouldn't grab the hose, turn it off, got a swig. I mean, that's how we lived and we made it. I mean, maybe that's what's wrong with us. Maybe that's what's wrong with Mike in the Midwest, but that's where we are in 2025. So that's how we have excessive heat warnings in 2025. In like 1983, it was called June 25th or June 22nd. And it was just called, it's a hot day. Go have some fun. So I don't know what memories you have of your childhood when it was hot, but let me know. Like, what did you do? Was it like alert, or was it just go outside and play and have some fun? And, if you get hot, come inside and play Atari for a few hours and then go back outside and you're going to be all right. But you know what? They were the best days. We made it work because I was not going to burn. I wasn't going to lose a day of summer because it was hot. I was going to have fun every single hour of every single day of the summer. We were the original Phineas and Ferb. I promise you that. All right. Hope you're having a great weekend. We're going to have a great live show tonight. Scott's going to be with us. We're going to get you ready for the podcast cruise if you're sailing with us. We're going to talk about all the Walt Disney World news, Disneyland as well, and just love talking with you guys. So we'll talk to you here in a few hours on the open line and have some great shows for you this week. I appreciate your support so very much. So glad we're friends and hope you enjoyed today's show. So until we talk again, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. All righty, everybody. You guys have a great Sunday. I'll see you tonight.